Behind the wall this time. Not everything's behind the door, but I always get the Plaza and the Pavilion mixed up. The Plaza Pavilion, of course, the Tiki Room and the Tahitian, I can't help it, the Tahitian Terrace all shared the same kitchen. It was basically one big building with different facades on it. Currently closed, of course. Back by here, this takes you right to the in-between, the old Red Wagon Inn, which is now the Plaza Inn. The in-between is right behind it. Some people call it the in-between because it's the in-betweeners in animation. Some people call it the in-between because it's in-between on-stage and off-stage. They both work. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen that old film of Walt talking with the ambassador about the new stuff that was going into Disneyland, a Haunted Mansion, and the Plaza Inn? And trying to remember now who the famous old Imagineer was, but Walt's describing this little bird aviary we're going to have and all that, and you can see him look at him like, what the hell are you talking about? We're not doing that. But he kept his mouth shut. And if I hadn't seen Marty Sklar point that out at the video that somebody provided me, where's Jason? Jason sent me the alumni video, and Marty pointed that out, and that was very funny. And you're right, but now that you look at it, you go by and you're like, that's good. Walt was always coming up with those little things. We're going to go down that way. There's not really much over here to be known about, but again, ask questions when you want. I know I heard you talking about the new House of the Future. So you guys want to go to where the old House of the Future there. The foundation's still there. The old, where the King Triton is and all that. That is where it was. The water's pretty much the same. The pathways are the same. The story supposedly is true that the wrecking ball bounced off of it. They had to torch it apart. It's pretty well built.
Thank you.
Too bad the technology just didn't improve inside of it and keep it. I thought it was still, today looks pretty advanced for what we're building.
That brings some magic in the Matterhorn.
Any questions in this area?
What are they doing with the plaza right now?
Just rehab, I think. You know, they were doing some face painting stuff, some kid interaction. For a while it was annual passport for people. This is usually where the pin horror and pin sharks are. That if you feel like, you know, running the gamut of getting through there. Actually, I've seen some of these guys sometimes say, I need an annual passport pin, then I'll trade you this stuff. Watch out for these guys. I really use caution when trading with pin sharks over here. Let's see. The castle, have you heard anything about the Tinkerbell? New attraction? Some of the underlying rumor, they might open the walkthrough up again, but as a Tinkerbell themed thing. Ed Greer said they're going to have a new Tinkerbell ride by the end of the year. It takes a while to build a dark ride or any kind of experience. If it's a meet and greet, they can open tomorrow. So there's got to be something more to it, and one of my sources told me they've actually had engineers in there looking around. Part of the problem is not ADA accessible. Very thin walkways. They actually, before it closed down, did have some problems with some groping, some other fun activities that go on in places like that. But it's a perfect spot to add Tinkerbells too, so that potentially could be it.
Tinkerbell.
I'd love to tell you they're taking out,
Hey Greg,
yeah.
The horse gave his opinion of your car.
Yeah.
That's Disney magic.
That's right. Yeah, it's a meet and greet. Yeah, you know, I heard that one too. So,
That's a beaten sheet.
actually, I was going to go down here, but we only have, you guys are familiar with the Utilidors in the Magic Kingdom? Yes. I'll take you to the one and only tunnel. No Utilidor, but it is a tunnel, like a Utilidor. We just didn't use a fancy name. And we'll go right by where Ariel's Grotto is. We'll meet right on the other side of that, so if you lose us, that's where we're going. So, that way.
Like, oh, yeah.
I can feel that. Well, it's cool. What's on the top?
That whole one?
Y ahí nos vemos en el estado arriba. Morning.
Just
Morning. How you guys doing today?
how are you?
Doing all right.
40-minute line. You get a pin?
Yes, you can. Should have gotten here early.
I'm glad I made it. I didn't think the tram would have got off. Well, the line for like if I wait for
There is a drinking fountain at this stop if anybody needs to partake right over here.
We're there. We're just getting ready to wrap up, and they disappeared on the trail up into the castle. So everyone was there.
All right, the configuration of this building's changed a little bit since I was here because we still have the Circle Vision Theater. That is not the door we want to talk about right here. It's actually right back there. But the stairs come right down here and then head off that way. It skirts the left edge of the Tomorrowland Terrace stage. It goes up and down. And it comes up in one place below the old America Sings building and then continues and comes up behind the old Skyway on the far side. It's pretty dirty. There's not really a lot of vehicles because there's not that much room to move around. There's an employee break area down there. And the stage that goes up and down is very cool and exciting on top. It's very boring and mundane at the bottom. There's little green rooms, you know, it's just not, the backside of Magic is pretty ugly. But, you know, it counts for what comes up, not what goes down, right? Now, while we're here, we can see the backside of the dark rides on Fantasyland, what I call the slow loading east side, because they're all, you know, max 2-3 people maybe. All these attractions are much longer lines than the ones on the other side, but they all share a central maintenance room. Between Alice, I hope, gets bulldozed and replaced with Beauty and the Beast, and Toad and Peter Pan. And they all share those rooms, and they can take the Toad cars off, and it's kind of cool in there. If you don't know how the effects work in Peter Pan, I can ruin the magic if you like. They're real simple and easy. So if you don't want to hear this, plug your ears, but the cars moving around on the ground over the city is a bicycle chain or a mechanical chain with glow-in-the-dark paint on it, just running through a gear back and forth. The clouds are plastic bags, and it's amazing what black light and a little distance from you can do to, you know, bring out the magic, if you will. Those attractions look terrible when you walk through them in the light. These guys knew what they were doing and how to use tricks with black light and all that. You've seen the pictures where people can't resist to use the flash and it looks like crap. That's what it looks like when you walk through it. So sometimes it's hard to imagine how these guys knew this stuff would work and all that. So.
Hey, they used to have a Tinkerbell one time playing Peter Pan ride. Was that done on the same thing?
No, I've heard that about the Florida version, which has a non-stopping ride. You know, the attraction just keeps moving. It doesn't stop and start like ours. And I've heard some other podcasts talk about when they were kids, there was just Tinkerbell flying around the cube. I don't remember it. I was there in 75, 92, early on, and I don't remember seeing that. But I don't really remember a Tinkerbell other than the little, you know, references to her and the little things. So I know in the big rehab in 1983, when the Tomorrowland totally changed, you know, got some more kind of 3D looking figures with a fight scene and a pirate ship, things like that. But Tink, I don't remember.
Did you see the first night you guys were the Matterhorn?
Oh, good question. You know, you just won a hat. Now, you know, you hear, if you listen to my show, and even if you don't, you'll hear it now, I get really irritated when people talk about the basketball court in the Matterhorn, or that the Matterhorn was permitted as a gymnasium because they couldn't permit the mountain. All untrue. And Tony Baxter, if you get the latest Imaginary on Disneyland DVD double set, he actually finally is pretty straightforward and honest about what it is. On what we call the 5th floor, which probably is not really the 5th floor, but it was the 5th stop on the elevator. It was the last stop on the elevator. It's a big break area, basically, and the guys that did the climbing on the rock, you know, they're like show people. They're out for 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then they're off for a certain amount of time, so the union guarantees some time off. So they hung a basketball court, they kind of taped off or painted on the ground a little, you know, key, thank you, and that's it. Now, since they put in the mechanisms for the new Tinkerbell, they've moved it around a little bit. There's some big mechanical crap going up on the floor. And once you get up to the 5th floor, which is about where these